my god, I already have melee open. You already know I'm not getting shit done. Hi Niniko. You better have the stream liked already. If you're so glad I'm streaming. Man, we're killing time today is what we're doing. Murdering time. It's not murdering time, we're just murdering time. Should probably move this down. You know. And I always have melee open in the beginning of the stream, but the boy, you delayed. No, I didn't slow roll. So I know you meant it. I'm not gonna press you, but like, I gotta fucking, you know, prepare things. You have 2 open. Nice. Well, I wonder who else is gonna show up. Because, look, I'm in a bit of a weird spot. I've just been trying to, gather things, you know. A recent large life event has happened. Nothing crazy, it just, you know, lost my job. It happens to the best of us, you know. You fucking oversleep one too many times and it's just over. So, like, whatever, right? So, you know, I'm just, like, applying to places and using the time that I now have available to me to basically force myself to be out of my house for the same amount of time that I'd be at work, but like with my like laptop and everything. So I usually end up going to a cafe or library, and I've just been like editing the dariacore video recently, and it's kind of really funny, but it's also kind of really 20 minutes long. I did like a final like pace cut sort of thing where like pretty much every single cut's where I want it to be, like as far as cutting it down for time or even for pacing, like the very like the micro sort of J cuts and everything, like even that's like 20 minutes. So it's kind of a long one. It's kind of worrying, you know, to make it like a convincing watch for that length of time. So I'm like, I have to go back in and, you know, see like actually what I'm gonna cut, and then it kind of makes me think like, all right, well now what direction am I taking my channel? Because if I do want like, you know, let's say more mass appeal or whatever, to put it like that, or like content that people would actually like watch and like give a shit about, it's just like a lot to post fucking like music videos, you know, for every single like song release, like big one that I do, as like a method of you know, like doing something. I don't know. I only say that, I guess like Corsa was just rather ambitious as a video, rather niche. And that's just kind of how it tends to be. And if I was going to record a video, I was always like thinking in the back of my mind, like, oh, a music video for Dead Cat would probably bang. Because of the nature of the song, it's a lot more mass appeal of a genre. It's not like Daria, it's, you know, it's kind of retro slop. But like, some kind of music video that made you feel like you were watching the music video for Bangarang, like, all over again. Like, that's kind of like, I was always like thinking of doing something like that, but then it's like, okay, like what the fuck am I gonna shoot? And it's gonna have to be long enough to be like 5 minutes, because that song is long, you know, and I don't really have like access to people the same way I used to, so it's like a whole thing. So in terms of like making videos about like streams that happen, like yeah, cool, but now I am Oddwin, now I'm Eliminate, you know, and I'm like, okay, well, if I'm gonna do this sort of content thing, I'm gonna not do what everyone's doing, because I don't want to be everyone. I want to be me. You know, all that sort of thing. And I've already went through the charade before of like have an idea of what I want to do on the platform, and then like not necessarily like constrain it to fit on the platform, but rather like, you know, like there's a certain language in which you tell things on YouTube. Not to be confused with like, you know, like Mr. Beast editing, or like something that's like way too fast and like doesn't understand like, you know, things need to breathe. There's pacing involved with every single decision. But like, you know, there's a certain language in which things are told on a platform, and like when I'm editing the Dario wheel video, I'm realizing, yeah, this is just a fucking Bishu video, but like worse. Like, I don't even watch the guy. I watched like 2 or 3 videos, and I kind of like, the vibe's not for me, and I don't want to like do something that's not for me. But it's not like, it feels totally unnatural. It's, you know, when I'm working on a creative project like a video, I kind of go where the video takes me, and it's taking me in that direction. Which makes me think, like, am I just being too stubborn? You know, like, because I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna do another one of these diary wheels, and I'm probably gonna do a video on that one, forming some sort of series. You know, I know that I want to throw up some breakdowns of certain projects that I do, and then it would be like other ideas of things that would be recorded on stream and then put on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, that's just Oddwin, okay. You know, like, all right. The formula is the same, and I don't want the formula to be the same, because then it just kind of reminds you of this YouTuber, but for this genre. And, you know, it, like... Maybe I just don't trust, I don't know, in a weird way, I don't trust the music to be good enough to stand on its own, you know? Like, if a particular part of my image, or whatever, becomes a forefront, like, will that take a front seat? Like, you know... Will I even have time to, like, make what I want to make if I'm just making YouTube videos again? Which is kind of what I was doing before I was doing the fembread thing of making music. So it's kind of like back to form in a way, and I've just had more time to think about that, you know, just like where I want to go. And it might be in a more sort of, unfortunately, kind of YouTuber-y way. I just don't want to do like a disservice to the culture in which I'm trying to fucking appropriate, you know, like Daria. You know, very hyper poppy and very, just by nature, kind of not really establishment, not really pop. Right? And so you do what is basically pop on YouTube, then it's like what are we doing? You're kind of just going backwards on a different platform. And like in the sake of ideology, not like backwards, like in the sake of progression. I don't know. But it's all like kind of a bit of a game now, you know? It's just a different landscape completely. Music, media, you know, everything, really. But then like a lot hasn't changed, you know, like the sort of the who you know, all that, like just, you know, having connections with certain people can get you to certain places. Like that'll always be true. Which makes me want to take more of whatever this would even entail or fucking mean. Like a more music-y route with the music and like, you know, try to make more connections. You might see me doing collabs or something. Which I just don't do. Not even like, because it's like a, oh, I don't do collabs, I do my own thing, sort of. It's none of that at all. It's just like, you know, opportunity doesn't come very often, I guess. And it's never the right kind, or, you know, I just don't feel like I'm gonna like, sometimes it's like, the very rare times I've tried to collab with someone, like musically in a project, it's just like, either it doesn't gel well or just becomes, you know, more of what their sound is, which is fine, just because my sound is so, like, whatever it is, you know. Can't believe I haven't, like, collaborated on some Daria song with someone yet, like, had a part in one. That's certainly next, you know, I absolutely want to get my foot in the door. You know, like, that sort of collabing is, like, kind of fun. I'm sure if, like, for sections before, there would be, like, some form of, like, input on the two, but, like, a lot of the time, at least in the scene, it is just, like, you know, alright, you have this many bars. It's kind of like recording a verse, you know, like a homie you're gonna, like, record a song with sends you the empty part of the beat, you know, but instead of empty beat, it's just, like, empty song, or maybe some loops from before that you can work with to, like, maintain the theme. Is it like bro sends me a melody to drums or more, because that's more easy. It's less like that. It's like someone would like make an intro or like a first drop and be like, yo, you want to do a drop for this? Or like, you know, maybe like the intro would just be done in a call. Like one person's working on it, the other person's just kind of like backseating for a bit. When you know, like you don't fuck with the collab, I don't say anything. Yeah, like I tend to never get myself in a position where that would even be like a suggestion. Because it's happened once, like over the internet, where me and this EDM producer, Rye, who I rarely speak with, if ever. No idea what they're up to. Hope they're cool. Very industry, very, you know, sort of way nerdier than I was and I am. You know, all that sort of. Knows some pretty heavy people, let's say. Like a couple. Maybe more now. I don't know. Very industry. Liked the sound I had at the time, despite me never, like... This is, like, pre-Daria, da-da-da. Like, I'm just, like, kind of, like, fucking around, like, making, like, color-based stuff. And I guess I had, like, a knack for... slapping together certain cashmere loops, because apparently my intro sounded really good. And they wanted to collab. And I was like, alright, yeah, cool. And then we're like, let's make something that's kind of, like, Temanite sounding. You know what? I might have the project. I might have the project, but there is a strong chance I don't. Let's figure it out. Save changes? Yeah, sure. What would it even be called? FLPs, who the fuck is Rye? Fuck you, Rye, and shitty glitch samples. You fucking absolute monkey looking ass piece of shit. It's not this one. I know what this one is, and it's not this one. It's who the fuck is Rye, I think? Maybe? We're gonna find out. I didn't open it properly. I have to come back into here. It might be. It might be, but this might be useful. Do I have that? Do I have a file named that? This might be old computer stuff. I do. Why can't you find it? The content library. Do you guys want to see the content library? This fucking absolute this piece of ass. What is this? What is this? Has anyone ever used the content library to any success? I really want to know. When was it implemented and why hasn't it changed? At least I probably did for 20. You know what? I should stop bitching. I heard 20 has a terrible sound font player, so that makes me kind of happy to hear. A little egotistical, I'm not gonna lie. So it's in not mine. Oh, it's a fucking... That's literally a sample of just this song. Oh yeah, okay, so it was the thing where like they made a fucking like a build up to a drop, and I'm just like, what if I made an intro to that? But like this is what I got sent. So you're gonna get an idea of how like industry they are. You know, just good old, yeah, simple. Yeah, just regular. This was like 2018, by the way. I think it's important to know that. Well, no, 2020 actually. I'm conflating hard as shit. It's COVID time. That's the only reason why I'm on the internet. I'm riding on Discord. You know, I was a Discord rat in like 2018, but I didn't really meet producers like that. So I think this was 2020. Let me just check the try to get info. Yeah. 31st of, what is that, July? So I'm like, I'm gonna make an intro to that. And honestly, I have an idea for how it sounds. I just remember it being kind of a hot piece of ass. And it was like just a bunch of like just nothing before. And that was the idea, just some real like Temanite sounding ass. You know, it's not a terrible like progression, you know, not a terrible melody. It's just like so quiet and so like, don't worry about this. Jesus Christ. I was put on game early, no. Fucking a lot of I used to use like magical 8-bit plug all the time. Just, you know, fucking basic ass, like, you know, the little major there sounds real nerdy and fucking dramatic. It's technically it's melodic minor, that note. That's what that is, but it's a whole thing. Fucking that's random. This is the first time I did a collab, and like the last time for a couple of years. So it just went nowhere after this. Could not figure out how to string the two, and like the levels were all over the place because I didn't really know what I was doing in terms of mixing, like, at all. It was just. It was a whole thing. I mean, it was fun to like sit in the call and like, you know, jot up the idea. But like, yeah, that's my history with collabs. I'm trying to remember. Besides, like, because I don't consider like I would go to my homie's house and make beats, like with him. Like that's not. I don't consider that collabing just because I'm just kicking it with a homie and we're just making music. You know, it's kind of different. It's not really transactional like that. Like we're not like placement farming, really. But like we just kind of hold on to it, like with like a nebulous plan to release a beat tape at some point. And we always like, there's always a date that comes up that would be nice to release it at, and then, you know, life happens or whatever. But like that's not really like a collab for me, you know, in the same sense that like you work on somebody else, work with somebody else on a song with intent to release it, you know. I've done that one. That's it. I don't know what to do. This is why I went back to Melee. I'm dead serious. I might just talk for a fucking hour. You know, and it's just whoever's down to listen. It's the podcast episode today. So, in terms of, like, what song to work on, I haven't really been working on music much because, well, today it was editing and then it was applying. And when I wasn't doing either of those two things, I was just kind of, like, you know, taking it all in. EDM labs are just so different because it's, like, an actual song with a beat. It's just mid drums and a bunch of loops. Yeah, you can. My homie and I never do that. You don't just like. It's very rare that we're just like, yeah, fucking, let's do the generic thing. But sometimes we laugh about it and just like, yo, I hear the whole beat with this stupid ass loop. It is the most generic beat in the world, and it will get a placement. You can make this shit in 10 minutes. Like sometimes that happens, but like it's always like a meme. But no, like, making a song together is kind of different. Because you're like, alright, gotta make an intro, and then it goes to here, and then it's the drop, and then it breaks down. And, you know, it's like arranged in a certain way, and there's a lot that goes into it. That each producer adds. Oh my fuck, I can't. Okay. I've never heard collabs shorted to that. That's some fucking, I mix 30 hertz. I mix 40 hertz. 60 hertz is way too high for me. Sounding ass shit. Like, I'm playing. Can this be the fembread advice app? I mean, if you have anything you want to know, I'm like, sure. That's kind of what this, I'm stalling for time. Anyone who asks anything, I'll probably answer it. Unless I can't. Like, I don't know how to make napalm, so don't try that shit. You know? Fembread advice app. Fucking Yardigan spotted. This is also just my excuse to practice because I did not have time to practice at all today. This game, this godforsaken game, requires a lot of practice to be able to do everything consistently, which I am absolutely not. Fucking... Whenever I have these OSDs on, I always think about, like, the PvPers in Minecraft who have their, like, reach counter right below their crosshair. Fucking, like, absolute nerds trying to hit 3.0 on every single hit, but that's a whole different conversation that appeals to maybe, in the world, like, 100 people. I want to get into PvP. I mean, I vaguely want to get into 1.9, but the only thing I ever hear about 1.9 is about how people glaze it for having strategy on like 1.8, which is just spam clicking. I'm just like, all right. You know, and then 1.8 mongrels come and like just stink the room up and don't make it any better for themselves. It kind of blows. You know, they don't make the game seem any less fun. But like, you know, I tried 1.9. It just felt like a finickier, laggier Bedrock. You know, with like, yeah, just like weirder timings and like a slightly more different meta surrounding like shield. But like Bedrock in the sense where I'm just like kind of timing my hits, you know, and I'm kind of waiting for an opening, a little methodically, one might add, and like there's like first hit crit mix-ups, shit like that. Like you do that shit in Bedrock all the time. And I don't know if jump resetting is meta 1.9. It feels like it would be, but it is in Bedrock, and it's very nice element to the game. Fucking mid-trade hit select to catch a buffer jump reset sort of deal. Like, you know, levels happen. The only game I'm sweaty at right now is Overwatch. Why? Were you like an OG player? Like, did you buy the disc, or are you kind of a new gen? It's okay to say you're a new gen. You know, but I had a homie, I remember him having the disc. And so whenever I see something shitty happen to the game, I always think about him. And I always think to ask his opinion. And God, is it the most like blood-curdling like he's just fed up. Sort of like lost hope a long time ago. Played on my friend's Xbox OG. It's pretty cool. You're around. I just never got into it, and then, you know, they made it free to play, which makes me want to get less into it, because it's like, okay, now even more like randoms are getting into it, and it's like, well, it's even more popular, you know. And I'm just like, if I wanted to get into a game like that, I'll just get into fucking TF2. Playing accounts, yikes. Yeah, that's like a whole thing. But bought it on PC. I love TF2. I love TF2 like culturally. I only played as a kid because, well, it was free to play. It's a Steam game, it's free to play. Relatively easy to run on a shitty computer. Or it ran, unlike many things. And so I played it. I didn't really know what I was doing when I played it. I don't anymore. I just don't really have the time. That's a fucking bummer. But everything I hear about it, I love about it. You know, I had a friend who played like who played Face It and like just like competitive and like MG and things like that. I had another friend who played MG actually. The friend, okay, hold on. The friend I make beats with, he used to be, I don't know if he still is, but he used to be nasty at TF2. Pretty good. Like I think he's like 1K hours or some stupid shit. Like he's like an OG Steam gamer. Like on some real. He would always play with people who were like just way better than him just because he had this Asian friend who was just way better. But no, he's just like he was nice at Soldier and he had like pretty nice at Scout, you know, but like all right at like most of the roles because, you know, you play for long enough, you try him out. But no, he was pretty good. And I say this to say, I hopped on the laptop one time. I was at his place. He was playing. I'm just like, yo, let me get a turn. Let me see what I can do. And he's watching me play, and he's like, damn, you actually play like an MG Scout. And I'm just like, let's go. I'm about it. I'm a gamer. And I still hold on to that, but like, you know, fuck it, I barely play. But then like, you know, like bots, they took them away, I never really know what's going on with the game. But I guess now, there's never been a better time than now to get into it. Sort of deal. I need to seem like a Scout main. I don't know, that's some cool person shit. What about CS2? Never played. Played CSGO. You know, I had a nice and long, lovely phase with that. Watching, you know, I watched a lot of the Score esports, which is also how I like, weirdly enough, like, kept along with the story of Melee. Like the Five Gods era and like Leffen. Mainly Luffin, because it was like when Melee was like at EVO, whatever. No, I played a lot of CS:GO. That was it, you know. Just played. There was a period of time where like I used some like team building website and like tried to find people to like make a squad with. I remember we had a game where we just impersonated the entirety of Team Liquid. Hi, Blue Hair Angel. We had a game where we just impersonated the entirety of Team Liquid, and we were so crazy for no reason. I think I was like, this was like when Twist was on Team Liquid. Or was the other guy who looks kind of like Twist? Fucking, I always forget. No, it was Twist. I think I was Twist. Maybe? Or was I Nav? I always forget. Someone took dibs on Stewie, though. Unless I was... I don't know. I gotta check my previous fucking nicknames. But it was a crazy game. We were all just, like, hot as hell. And then we decided to impersonate different Liquid members. We shuffled the roster around a little bit, and it was the worst game we've ever played. It was, hands down, the most miserable to VC. Like, silent, just, like, head bashing against the wall. What do we do? Like... And the games are a little longer than CS2, so you're kind of in the ringer for quite a while. You know, it's fucked up. It's really fucked up. But it's nice that if you 5-stack, you like a lot of the time you just go against other 5-stacks. So it's kind of like Face It, but without the anti-cheat. But yeah, Blue Hair Ranger, we're just kind of talking, because I don't know what the fuck to make. I was going to mention how I didn't know what to make because I was doing literally anything else. Ooh, Invis let's go. No, because I was editing and I was applying and I was just doing a bunch of other stuff. I just didn't really have time to like open FL and be like, oh shit, what are the projects in progress? I usually, throughout the day, would look at like what I'm working on and see what I can work on stream. And what I mean by that is like, what's something that will, I don't know, I don't have to think too hard about necessarily. Like, I already know like how I'm gonna do this, and all the tedious work has been done, so I don't have to do anything that like is just boring on the screen. Like, I didn't have any time to like, you know, go through my shit and like do that. And then I was just thinking of like, all right, I'll just do another Dario wheel then, because I'm due. I said I was gonna do it next month, a month ago, over a month ago, actually. One of the strong back air, but like, fucking just kind of. Well, I was editing the video, and so it was like kind of late in the day already. I remember last time I announced it, it was, you know, the fucking early afternoon. But by the time that I was like more leaning towards doing it, I just, you know, I don't know. It was too late in the day, and I felt like I wasn't gonna get that many submissions. It was gonna be more underwhelming than last go around. I just kind of chickened out. I just realized Preda sampled the crowd shock sound from Melee on Doja FIFA. Yeah, Melee's got some hitters. The laser sometimes gets sampled every now and then. Oh, I see. Yeah, how can I mimic it? Oh, I know how to do it. If you full hop with Peach. Oh, that's Daisy. And then... Is it like... You have to... It's some weird, like, fucking... Never mind. I used to know, like, if you full hop with Peach and then... grab ledge or something, you get the gasp every time. But... Whatever. Fucking... Please, just... Oh. I don't know how to do it. Fucking... My friend, yeah, that's it. That's the end of the sentence. Okay. I just couldn't think of it. Yeah. The only song that I have, like, that's remotely a work in progress is the, like, High Bash FLP, where, I have to make a breakdown with a guitar, which requires like ideation of something that like I am particularly bad at. Just like, it's just not my strong suit at all, picking up an instrument and thinking of like a breakdown. I've never written a breakdown before. And writing guitar parts is usually like kind of, I end up like having to do some sort of shortcut. Why the fuck are you on? Some sort of like shortcut or easier way of doing things. I can never really, you know, I can't like shred, I can't sweep pick, I can't, none of those you need to do for a fucking breakdown, really. But like I just can't improvise. I don't know. Maybe I'm just in a very dowdy sort of mood. Not like a bad mood. I'm not like sad, not like depressed or anything. Just kind of like, in terms of recognizing my abilities to do something, like, do I want to be that bad at something in front of people? Is really the question that I ask myself. Because, you know, like, doing it behind closed doors isn't really a problem. Like, I'll gladly spend an hour or two working on something that, you know, is probably 10 seconds long. But, like, it's what's in that hour, like, all of that just, you know, the confusion of what the fuck do I do, right? It sounds interesting, but it really isn't, you know? It's not like the savant artist, like, fucking pacing around the room and, like, I don't know, ponders at the garden, in search for a tweet of a bird that might resemble a melody of some sort, whatever. Like, no, like, it's really just like sitting on my fucking chair and thinking really hard. Or sometimes trying not to think hard at all and just waiting for something to happen in my mind for me to make some sort of urethra, some sort of like breakthrough, some sort of breakthrough to make a breakdown. And a lot of that just happens in silence, right? And it's just hard to do that sort of, it's hard to do that sort of ideation on stream. Just straight up, it's difficult. You know, so I'm just like, yeah, don't really feel like it. I'll just do something else. And then I looked through all my projects and I'm like, no, I finished that one. No, I finished that one. No, I just did a breakdown of this one. No, yeah, this is the only one I have as the work in progress. I don't really have any idea as to like a new song, like nothing at all. You know, I haven't really been that musically inspired lately. And I think it's important to acknowledge that, you know, I'm not gonna like, this is the point in time in which I would just like do an event or something, because I can't really come up with anything, right? But it's like, I'm not gonna fucking, I don't got the motion to just announce it on the spot like that and like have it still like do well. If I did, I would, but yeah. Whatever. I hope you're enjoying me on the other monitor. Just kind of speaking with some melee sounds ever so faintly in the background. As my movement gets just a little bit better. I'm just trying to like get better at that fast fall shine turnaround, like ledge dash. And also refreshing, I can't really do consistently, but like that's a whole fucking whatever. I'm just like making these little mental notes as I'm speaking, so I'm not trying to really fuck the flow of conversation. I was gonna ask a big paragraph of advice, but it feels corny. What do you mean it feels corny? What's the problem with this fucking generation? Too scared to be vulnerable. Got it beaten out of them. You know, they saw people being vulnerable in the generation before them. Saw other people virtue signaling. And it all gets lumped in as one big cringe. And the result is, let's not do that. Let's do the antithesis. You know, we gotta be nonchalant, be cool. Work it out, you know. I'm not trying to make a scene. Because then, like, now you're the center of attention. You know, you ask the question. In the grand scheme of things, I really doubt that, like, people are going to watch the VOD. And if they do, I doubt they're going to watch it for this long. You know, maybe people who just are curious enough to see what I'm up to and are also looking for something to put on their other monitor while they, I don't know. You know, I think like it's a very small subset of people. So in terms of amount of people to embarrass yourself in front of, it's not many, I'd say, but I don't know. I could just use something to talk about, really. I'm kind of selfish. I'm very gluttonous, and I'm just like, feed me topics, and I shall give thee speech. In a way, it's transactional. Kind of just booted up the stream to, you know, check in on those who want to really say what's up. And that little spiel to let y'all know what's going on. Not trying to draw too much attention to it, though. We yapping? Oh yeah, we are absolutely yapping. Basically, it's just that. Epoch. I know you want to see me make a breakdown. Probably. I don't want to see me make a breakdown on the stream. I mean, I did a whole spiel about like I don't want to do something that I'm bad at in front of people. Like so spectacularly bad at, but like, you know, why you? I don't know. I just feel like you're the type. just kind of just fucking lucky. Just throwing guesses out there. I'm just asking questions. You know, I'm just making reads. I'm just here for the camaraderie. Well, I appreciate that. Oh, I'm not trying to like G-check you. I promise. I pinky promise. Oh, fucking fish paste. Okay, I trust. Good. I wonder if Nineco is typing up that paragraph. I actually bet so much in imaginary money that the message is just gonna get blocked. Wait, is this? No. Oopsies. You are. Oh, okay, no, I need to make sure the chat wasn't fucking, like, weird. The size is very specific, the window size. What am I doing? No, FL's the background, so I can pretend like I'm gonna make music at any second. and then just kind of... Don't even worry, I'm trying to avoid it. I trust you. If you can play Club Penguin. New CP is back. I hate that it's called that, but new Club Penguin, I guess you can call it. That's typed out. You type it out as new CP. One word. It sucks because I had so much like bougie items on the account when they were running on Flash still, and then they switched to HTML5, and you know they burn all the accounts. You're able to take 6 items with you. Theoretically, you could have taken a black belt, you know, in a ninja mask, but that's 2 slots. I just took like some limited time items. There's a lot of limited time fashion items that I had, but I was just like so rich that like I had a lot of fashion items like shoes and jackets that would color code and like various accessories for various color palettes. So like a green one, a blue one, and like a more purple one, a pink one, and like a red one, you know, black and white. Like sort of deal. And so I had to kind of just pick a few to keep. It was very heartbreaking. But I'll have you know that I'm now the proud owner of, I think, did I get the gold MP3 player? I don't know. But I think I got the gold laptop. A gold laptop, maybe a normal looking laptop, various colored MP3 players, and like some like different eye models that you can wear. Everything else is like earnable. Which does mean I'm gonna have to grind for a black belt again. But like that's no big deal. But I found a new obsession. Yeah, I found a new obsession in the game because like I realized that the fashion catalog is very, you know, a lot of people are just like they were there like day of the HTML5 drop. Just the new engine the game's running on, it's way smoother. I'll give it that. Although a lot of features just don't fucking work. They're just not on. Like certain like secrets and keys and, you know, certain things. And they also like patch things in secret. But whatever. So like there are some people with a bunch of like limited time items just flexing. You know, they just kind of pick their 6 and like whatever. But I found a new obsession. It's stamp collecting, because I realized that you can actually look at people's stamp books and you can customize your stamp. This is always a thing. I just never paid attention to it as a kid, and so even when I went back to play again, I never really paid attention again. But then I realized it's like, you know, it's another way to flex that you're really around the block and you know the game or whatever. It's just to get like all the achievements. You know, there's a bunch of achievements for like individual activities, and also just like doing things like having a certain amount of people in your igloo, or getting 5 people to wear the same soccer jersey and go to the soccer field. You know, like that one's considered really hard because you need like a coordinated set of friends and like a party of people, and all 5 of them have the item and are willing to do this thing. You know, or they're like really stupid ones where it's like, oh, you have to wear an apron at a barista and do the coffee emote 5 times. But you can't get the apron. Or you get the pizza apron and serve pizza 5 times with the pizza emotes, but you can't, there's no pizza apron. There's a lot of shit like that. It's kind of fucking annoying. And the Christmas event is still going on, kind of, like there's still a lot of those sort of things in the shop. I don't know. It's just been another like time killer of mine when I don't know what to do with my time and I'm just really bored just watching YouTube. Is I will play Club Penguin, which makes you wonder, why doesn't the Discord server have moderators yet? You know? I did mod apps like maybe a month ago at this point. Maybe more actually. And I've kind of already did like a little vetting process. Like I've read them all. You know, there's a list somewhere of like pros and cons with the candidates. You know, who cares about what. And I just didn't do anything with it. And you would think that like every single free moment I get, I'd, you know, be doing something with that. But no, old habits tend to die hard. You know, you just kind of like meander. Want to not really think about the 6, 7. Want to think about the responsibilities you have. 6. I just right through the highway. Alright, it's essential to mention Skrilla whenever you mention that meme, otherwise you don't know. And you can't not be in Noah. I never thought about applying, but I'm nowhere near active enough to validate. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that kind of people who are low-key rats. And there are people who are rats. They're the few active people on the server, and who also applied. And so, again, I already have an idea of like who I would make moderator, and then I would like. The idea is I would then have people do things in the server when I'm not around, or you know, that would require me to not have to set it up, like a movie night or a game night. You know, like simple shit that like I just don't want to have to set up because I make music, I make videos. It's not that I don't know how to do these things. I do very well. How can you do movie night very well? Whatever. But I'm not like tech illiterate, right? Let's chill out here. I'm resourceful. It's just, you know, I'm not going to be available all the time. I'm not going to be able to go on my PC all the time, or like speak at the top of my lungs all the time. That's why I don't stream during the afternoon. If I was able to, I would much rather stream at a more reasonable time when more people were on, so that I could have better analytics and have more people see my stuff. You know, if it were up to me, I absolutely would. It's not, so I can't. And that also means that throughout the day, I just, you know, don't really have the time to be like doing that sort of stuff, you know, and the weekends, it's even harder for basically the same reason. You killed a movie night in a server you mod. People stopped showing up. Please tell me how that happened. Was it like a bad wreck, or like, did you say some racist shit? What happened? Like, how do you kill movie night? Like, the reputation of it, you know, because like, like, you know, you killed night, the night itself, the people at least spin back. You know, like you would have to like, you know, put on the Burger King hat or something for movie night to be dead. It stopped getting people. No, yeah, that makes sense. Did you kill it? Like, did you like just bad movies? You think, or what? Like over time, people just kind of stopped showing up. If that's the case, then you didn't kill shit. You know, if people just stopped showing up, people got lives. Maybe the novelty wears off. Maybe it was happening. Was it like a weekly thing, bi-weekly, monthly? Because frequency matters, you know. Too little frequency, people forget, but things are still kind of special. Too much, and it's fun for a bit, and then it's not. Weekly, yeah, it's fucked. Movie week. I mean, like, are you fucking taking the whole thing in one bite, the movie, or are you chipping out a movie and like maybe a movie a month or something? The whole thing in one bite, I'm assuming. That was the out of the first one because of how stream delay are. I'm just gonna guess. Full movie a week. That's a lot. That's a lot of content. Maybe it is too much. Yeah. You know, I mean, I feel like normal people don't watch a movie a week. People barely watch a movie a month. If they had the choice to, would they watch a movie a week? Probably not. They'd probably watch a movie a week for 2 or 3 weeks and get tired of it and be like, oh, I'll just wait. You know, barely watch movies low key. Yeah. Were you on Ox too? Or like, were there suggestions? Like, how did that work? Spun a wheel. Span is not past tense of spin. That's like spanning from. Spun a wheel. Anyway, spoon a wheel from suggestions. Nah, but what's it called? Bro, spine the wheel. No, but all right, well, yeah, no, I just think weekly's a lot, or like the whole movie at once is kind of a lot. It's 1 a.m. I'm tired. Okay, we're in the same time zone, buddy. I mean, well, I'm sitting next to a can of an empty energy drink I bought with quarters. It's getting rough out here. You know, but I'm up, so I could catch that. But what's it called? I think it's a bit much, but like also, if it was weekly, like low-key, what if you did like half the movie? I mean, it's kind of too late now. But like if it was half the movie, just like blue ball them. You gotta come back next week to see the full thing, sort of thing. People tried to suggest watching anime. No, it's just, that wouldn't happen. I mean, an episode a week is cable, you know, that is cable, so it's feasible, but like you'd have to kind of, it's either you commit to a series, which is more subjective. What the why am I disabled? Do you see that? Oh my god. You commit to a series, which is very subjective. Oh, or you bounce around, which means you never finish anything. Jesus Christ, why can't I fucking shine bear? I'm gonna shoot myself. You know, that's a whole thing. I mean, I'm kind of in a server that does that. And they're just committing to a season. Because I think when you're doing anime night, it's like, okay, we're watching this one. Because otherwise it's just like you got like a bunch of gangs who show up for their show and their show only. You get a bunch of, I mean, if you want a diverse crowd, it's cool, but you get a fragmented crowd that way. So it becomes a whole thing. Movies are a lot more mass appeal. But that makes me, that's kind of good. We can start workshopping what movie night would entail. Like, I know that it wouldn't be weekly. I'd kill myself if it was weekly. I want to do like weekly things maybe in the server, but like alternate, you know, movie, game, and something else, maybe. Or maybe just nothing. Fucking random ass, like, talent show every now and then. Whatever the hell. I don't know. Fucking comedy night. God, that is a Reddit. I mean, you phrased like a Reddit post, so I understand why you were worried about making it seem cringe. But it's important context, so you're like, I don't blame you. Fucking some AMA ass. Do TTRPG, but make someone accept you DM it. I would have to find someone, and also find interest, and that interest wouldn't be, I just wouldn't have the time to participate. But yeah. Oh, it's being split up. Oh, I guess I'll just wait and continue talking about what I was talking about. But yeah, I feel like it's a Herculean task finding a DM. What would it be then? Because I mean, weekly thing. Because here's the thing, right? The server's still small, so doing things too often will tire out the people who are already there. You know, I have a fucking concept of an idea of like, you know, the game nights could be made into funny moments videos. Wow. But like, you know, I don't think I would do all that, but I would have to promote the idea of the server being more active to give more of an incentive for people to join. If there needs to be more like eyeballs, the eyeballs have to come from somewhere. But then it would have to come from the stream, right? The promotion for the server, for there to be demands, you know, because as it stands right now, there just isn't a sustainable amount of people coming in to justify like events at the frequency I want to do them. But I do them too infrequently, and it's like it's a huge chance they just don't happen. You know, but. You don't think anything got blocked? All right, good. Let's see what we got. Where's my other mouse? Okay. All right. 18, 19 in July. College, undecided. Failed 3/4 of classes in the first semester. Yeah. To be fair, just left New York City for her master's, and she's like your best friend. Now it's just your parents who work from home and you. Okay. I have femoral. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's acetabular. Fuck that. Acetabular. Fucking no. I'm not gonna give it a shot. Impingement on both sides of my hips. I'm just constantly uncomfortable, and years of just like sitting at a desk plus bad posture. You're just physically cooked and need to go to the gym and have membership before. The only thing I can do is music, but I'm not delusional to think that I'll magically find success. Recently, I'm unsure if I'm just a very passionate consumer music and not a creator. I really struggle with intent and making stuff with purpose and using my brain. I feel like a bum, but I know I'm motivated and lazy. I just lack structure. My main priority is school, but I feel like, what is the point? Maybe I'm Delulu. You know, just copping out due to external factors. Okay. So I need advice on. I'm playing. Okay, hold on. Just give me a second to like sift through. Like where to next? No, I know what the question is. I know what it is. It's where to next. You know, it's what from here. What can I do with what I have? You know, I think is kind of the gist of what you're trying to get at. Do you make music? I forget. And if so, for how long? Self-imposed prison on mine. Well, I don't want to say you're not alone. I'm worried the timer is reset. Because I feel like that's some form of invalidation. Well, you're not. You do. Okay. And if so, for how long? And also, do you play an instrument? These are just like random, like, want to get to know you questions. Sort of. to understand a position that you're faced with. Why? That's never gonna work ever. The fuck? Oh yeah. Waiting for since 24, but taking it more serious now. Well, you're very new. I'll tell you that. Like actually trying to learn. It's good. So the problem with being like a year or two in, basically 2 now, is it gonna suck for a while? That's it. It's just not. You're never gonna like. Not never. It's gonna be a long time before you start sounding how you want to sound. And even then, once you start to get there, you'll kind of learn like, all right, well, how do I take the sound further into a direction that sounds cooler, or, you know, just like expand upon it. But like, that is such a long road. And it is so hard now. It's so hard now because of how, like, shorts just were not a thing when I was learning how to produce, you know? Like, the videos were maybe like 4 or 5 minutes long, so they were kind of the shorts of YouTube at the time, and they were like joke tutorials, you know, but it wasn't ever like... People don't like post shorts of like, you know, like cool ideas they've come up with, or, you know, like you would nowadays in TikTok, like a song you're working on, and or just like to flex, you know, just to flex something that just wasn't really a thing. Like maybe on Instagram, some like novel ass, like trendy sort of beats would pop off, but it wouldn't really be the same thing. So it's just a terrible landscape to come up in, because everywhere you go, you're just kind of reminded of how better than you everyone is. So much more now, I feel like, than ever. Just because of, you know, how easy it is to show people how good you are. And no, I don't play an instrument. I used to play trumpet and piano, but it's like not good enough to count. I see. Yeah, so do you feel like that, I mean, it's kind of like a lot of people are perfectionists nowadays, I feel like. Well, no, maybe it's just me noticing more who I relate to and noticing less who I don't. You know, but I want to say that like people have more of a propensity to be a perfectionist because why be seen being lackluster sort of thing just kind of comes from the same spot, the same sort of self-conscious. Why am I refreshing like tomorrow? It's gonna but that'll be tough. So like, do you have like an intrinsic understanding, you would say, of like security, or am I actually a perfectionist? I mean, you know, depends. I think there's truth to both. I think one can come from the other. One can manifest the other, you know. But what's it called? So like when you're like making like melodies or something, or like making music, do you feel like you have a feel for things, or do you feel like it's an uphill battle to even understand like what's going on, to find the right notes, you know? Because a lot of people say there's no talent, doesn't exist, you can learn anything. But I think there is some truth to like some people just kind of understanding based like with their ear, like what's in a scale, what's not. Yes, for sure. Okay. Good. That's great. That means it's going to be way easier for you to learn. Also, hi, Cyanatic 34 and Gekido. My foot's better. Plus, like the stream, please. Okay, bye-bye. Okay, bye. What's it called? Fucking... yeah, so like, in terms of how the process will be for you, it'll be a lot easier than a lot of other people, but like, you know, not like savant level. You know, I think the concept of that is pretty popular. I mean, like, you know, in the 2010s, still, like, you know, like news segments would run all the time about like, you know, this XYZ old kid can play this instrument to this level of proficiency or whatever. It's gonna be the next Jimi Hendrix. But like what's it called? I think you it's gonna be hard. Just keep your head down and just kind of keep going. So like all I can say is keep your head down. That's it. Sort of Formula One style, you know, like the world's kind of crashing around you. Sort of, you don't really know, like, there's so many people going faster than you. So many externalities you just cannot control. All you can really do, just head down, keep going, keep racing, you know. That's all I can do. The sort of Uncle Ruckus, do what you can. Like, it's true for a reason. But, I know, I know, I'm not done. Chill. But in terms of, like, life, the nebulous concepts, where to go, that one, I fucking can't answer for you. I literally cannot, because, you know, the thing with, you know, liking music and, like, you can probably get good at it, yeah, cool. Building a career with it, do you want to do that? You know? Like, do you want to do that to something you like? You know? Because once you start, like, it's kind of fucked when you think about it. I recently read a book about this specifically, actually. I recommend it, actually. Here we go. Austin Kleon. I think it's called Keep Going. Yeah. He made, I read a book called Steal Like an Artist. Pretty good. Keep Going is also pretty good. I mean, it says stay creative, but it's really just, you know, keeping going. Nice little tidbits of, nice little nuggets there. But, like, it's kind of like it comes from the same place. It was starting to be written, like, pre-2020, but, like, you know, kept being written throughout, you know, as the world gets crazier. But what's it called? But, like, in that, it also mentions, like, you know, like, it goes over, I mentioned it because, this is why, I just remembered. Fucking Christ. It's fucked how whenever you get really good at something and you show people, the first thing they tell you is how you can make a living off that thing. You know? It's seen as, like, the highest form of complimenting. And it's, to them, it is. You know, like, you're so good at baking, you should open a bakery. You know, you're so good at music, you should be an artist. You're so XYZ. You know, like, oh, this sweater is so high quality, you could sell this on Etsy. Sort of thing. And it's like, it's meant to be a compliment, but it's just the nature of where things are, you know, like, it's people don't really have hobbies, they have side hustles, sort of thing. Because just of how suffocating life is becoming for the average person and how grim things are seeming. Fucking, what's it called? And so, where do you go for a career option? I don't know. Every single sector is like, oh, let's go. Subscription. Glad you're listening. This is not the usual kind of stream. I just don't know what the fuck to make. And so I just kind of chat. No movie. I'm in the trenches getting money. Sit back and enjoy the fruits. But what's it called? So, like, because every single sector is kind of seeing similar, like, you know, profits are waning. We don't know how much longer we can keep this going. You know, the cracks are starting to show in the larger system. Everything's going towards AI, which doesn't seem the most permanent, you know. Eventually, the data centers will have been built, so the contracting is kind of done. You know, eventually, the companies will have made an XYZ amount of money, so then they will start laying people off. And so, like, the only sector right now that's, like, if you want to make money and, like, live and eat securely, it's manual labor or it's nursing. You know, and that's kind of the two that's, like, you're probably good. you know, because they're not really going to be AIing electricians anytime soon. Like, you might be convinced to have a chat GPT bot alongside to give you the wrong answer and probably kill you, but like, you're not going to like get replaced by anything anytime soon in terms of that. But it's like, okay, that's pretty bleak too, honestly. I can't lie. It doesn't bode well. But like, in that, what is the answer? What now? If so, then what? Like, you just keep going. Just keep going. You know, a little delusional, but we made it this far because of that. Because of that delusional sort of, just keep going. You know, do what you like for as long as you can keep doing it, for as long as you can sustainably do it. And like, it's kind of all right to be undecided, I guess, because as far as things are looking, undecided looks to be about as it's the same worth as a master's. It's like, fucking might as well wipe your ass with it, you know. Like, it doesn't bode well, right? So, you know, that time, like, are you mainly going to campus? Or are you like, because if you're mainly going to campus, then that's good. That's the time you should be spending developing your social skills. That's time I didn't get because I didn't go to college. No. Yeah, I chose not to go to college because I'm just going to go the alt route anyway. Sort of, I don't want to put myself in debt. Kind of a stupid decision. 2 online and 2 mixed. I see. It's going to feel a bit lonelier. In that sense, it'll be a lot harder to find your crowd if you put yourself around less people. You know, but I'm sure it's probably out of necessity. For some reason, probably the only ones available. But what's it called? All you can really do is just do what you can, like better yourself day by day. Not die. Keep your head in check. Try to disconnect in the mornings so you don't wake up to Twitter. So maybe you don't wake up to figuring out we bombed Iran. Maybe you could like figure that out at 3 p.m. Because that's something that's like 3 p.m. news. It's not fucking 9 a.m. news, right? It's like, you know, like just like bettering what you can about your life at the very least. And maybe get to work on deciding a major or something to at least learn about something. Because that's another interesting thing about college is you can just kind of just learn random shit. Like if you want to learn something and there is a course on it, you probably can take it and probably learn the thing pretty well. But you know, money, fucking whatever. That's all I got. All you can do is whatever you can do. And that's kind of it. I went to the library to do your project and just watch the breakdown VOD. Did it help at all? Because I feel like I don't go over shit usually. I don't know. I guess like if you're looking for what you need, you'll find it, sort of. And that's kind of the creative principle. You take what you need, leave the rest, or leave things better how you found it, etc. It did? Cool. Streams are so helpful to learn. I'm very glad. That's kind of the goal, is to share my knowledge, because at one point, not long ago, I didn't know like half the things I know now. Just went on a huge just binge of like, let me fucking level up my game. Arrgh. Which takes a lot of like try-harding and trying a lot of tricks, tips, methods, many of which will make your shit sound worse, many of which won't do anything, many of which there are probably easier ways of doing, but like you never learn that until you try the shit way first. You know? All that. I think it's time to start tryharding. Yeah. I mean, tryharding is like, it's really like what it was is every single part of the process for me, I was, okay, what part of this process is pissing me off and what can I change to make it better? Thing one, I couldn't find anything. So the solution is to make a template project that's already organized. have a color coding system that works for me, and a mixer system that works for me. That was kind of like experimented on a little bit. Like the coloring used to be a bit more specific. I used to like have a naming convention for automation clips and like a way of organizing them in the project to make it look a bit more like Ableton. That took a bit too much time. Started to sack that part of the process, and over time, just kind of like build upon that. And it's like if I'm like working on something, I'm like, okay, well, how can I navigate to the mixer easier? Oh, it's F9. And like find plugins easier. I can just Control F them instead of having to like, do anything and like learn all these keybinds and just all the little things to make the process from ideation to actualization like that much easier. So there's less shit, less how do I do this, like what button, and more how do I do this like conceptually. You get to actually think about how to go about doing something. But like you never really learn that until like you just start like being just a little outside your comfort zone, trying to make something that you're not really used to making. Maybe for the sake of learning a new skill, learning a new way of mixing. Using Patcher, good, useful. Next, you can learn how to make like your own little plugins with knobs and shits. Learn how to use XYZ controller, which is so useful for making nice, quick little plugins. And like, just making, there was a period of time where I just wasn't making like presets for like EQs and like presets for like mixers and stuff. Like I just didn't have anything. And my homie's pulling out all his presets. And I'm just like, I'm getting fucking mogged out here in the marketplace of ideas. And so I just kind of like stepped up my game. One thing I learned from photography is that probably applies. You can study till you're blue in the face, but you got to go out there. No, yeah. Like I wasn't really watching too many videos on like specific things. Like there wasn't very many times where I had a specific inquiry and I'm like, I need a video to like solve this. Maybe it was like a couple of things for like, how do I do this thing in Patcher, or whatever. Well, sometimes it would be like, okay, my mix sounds like shit. I'm gonna look through some pretty generic mastering videos. Maybe I'll find a nugget of truth or two and just kind of leave the rest. But like immediately trying shit that I think will work, shit that I think won't work. Just trying it. You don't know any producers IRL? Yeah, like hopping in Discord. Yeah. When I got invited to like a friend group server of like a bunch of Daria producers when I'm like first getting into the game, and I just sit and call with them and watch them cook, and I'm just like, oh, I understand now. This is where I'm at. Real good chin check, and it's sick because I just kind of ask questions. I realized that a lot of the people who are better than me have less of a concept of like how to explain themselves than I do. They just kind of more feel and know, and it's more innate. I'll tell you, it's gonna be rare and like if you go to like Hyperflip Hub, you're probably not gonna. Sorry, it's mean, but it's true. A little bit to some extent. Like they're just kind of amateurish. Might get some tidbits of knowledge, some ideas to steal. Which is always fine. You can steal from anyone and anything, but like as far as like learning some crazy shit, yeah, people who are just like kind of better at the software than you, or just make better sounding music, or like there was this one time where I was like, I think I learned a couple of serum tricks just watching a Virtual Riot stream VOD, just kind of watching him cook. And it was an Ableton, I mean, like, yeah, it was mainly like Serum, but like he did a couple of like weird like tricks that would be Patcher tricks in FL, but in Ableton. Like the idea of like my processing sort of racks just came from Virtual Riot's Fat Rack, the classic sort of. And I'm like, oh, I can just make one of these in FL with a Patcher and just have it take up one slot. It's genius. Can you hear the track you're working on? I'm not working on shit. It's a template. Watch this. Yeah. I'm not working on shit. I was just kind of like talking for the past like hour. Which is how long I kind of figured, or I'll talk for like 45 to an hour and see how long I can come up with. But yeah, that's my fucking preset. I barely use it. My preset, it's still to, you know what? Okay, I can't really edit it now, like on whatever, for reasons. But like, my preset's all broken because the LFO tool that I set up by default has this split on, which puts like a little like notch at 20 hertz, which just completely changes the way sub sounds. And it's really annoying when I figure it out and I turn this off and the bass is like so much louder. But like, just whatever. It's just some stupid shit to do with like I've never seen anyone else sidechain that way, ass way of sidechaining. But it's kind of like using an automation clip, but it's not, because automation clips have smoothing on them and shit. Man, I'm so fucking slow. All right, well, no, I don't know. I'll chill for a little longer because like I'm trying to come up with something to fucking to yap about. I think I had some other things. The video's going well. It's funny. Though I realize that a lot of my computer audio is really quiet on stream because my computer audio, my stream audio is leveled in a way for Daria to be like normal sounding, which makes everything really quiet sounding. Much quieter on your end than it is for me, for example. Which is kind of annoying. And as a result, I realized that like because I was so like, I don't know, excited for that stream or whatever, I was very up and active, and you know, I was doing a challenge and just like it was a fun time. You know, chat was moving. And I was basically yelling into the mic the whole time, and I feel like I still do, which is fine. You know, it's a little like I'm fucking like I'm not gonna do like the shy girl whisper. You know, I'm confident, I'm loud, I don't fucking care, and I think it's funny, but it's just my mic is like fucking clipping so hard like all the time, and it's really funny. But other than that, as far as how the video's gonna do, I cannot tell. I think it's gonna do terribly. Quite frankly. I think it's gonna get like max 4,000 views. Now I fuck with the loud. I also noticed that a lot of people's like audio just in general, like on YouTube, except for like Vanos because he's production and he understands. A lot of people's audio is just fucking quiet. I would not watch if you did the whisper. Yeah, it would be fucking like it's very like e-girl, very like, you know, I don't know. There was a period of time, if you go back to like the first few streams on this channel, there's a period of time where I didn't want to do any sort of voice because I'm like, well, it's gonna sound halfway and people are still gonna, you know, like treat me as if I was a guy anyway, so like I might as well not. But then I'm just like, yeah, fuck it. It's kind of stupid not to. I might as well practice at all times, even in front of people. Like speaking is something I'm willing to be bad at in front of people. Making a breakdown, like a rock one, nah. Unholy. I'm AA, send me 50K. You're Alcoholics Anonymous? Is that what that is? Also, why is that your profile? Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna. That just reminds me of when Night in the Woods was like hot. Buy me things. What if I don't want to? Don't listen to them? Buy me things instead. No shade. I mean, yeah, no shade, because like they just don't want to like sound super bricky, but they end up sounding super bricky. You know, like some people just kind of voice chain with a lot of airiness, and feels bad. You know, they didn't really get it. I'm much more deserving. You might be, but I'll have to consider it. I'll have to weigh the pros and cons. I guess it helps that I've done, I'm not gonna say voice work, but I occasionally mention this. I say occasionally. I swear it's like every 3 streams I mention the fact that I was like a Discord rat in like 2018, like 19, when like Raccoon Eggs was hot and like Fits and Swagger Souls and like, you know, fucking. And so like during that time, a lot of people would hop on Discord with like high quality mics and like mics with a bit of post processing. So I learned a bit of like just about the voice through that, through trying to teach myself how to fry scream at some point, and like understand, and like being a music producer and understanding like what a vocal sounds like when it's like a high-pitched male versus a deep voice female. Like fucking with a formant shifter will teach you that real quick, you know, and then you realize voice training is basically just how do I do an IRL formant shifter, you know, and like what correlates to that. And, you know, you have an understanding of that, it's a lot easier. I have an understanding of it, I just have a really fucking deep voice. So, like, this is about as high as I can naturally make it, as I'm used to making it. It's still like a muscle you have to get used to putting in a certain spot. Any higher and it sounds like I'm constraining too much, and it's like a weird nasally sort of squeak. And like, I don't know, vowels start to sound weird and like, you know, sort of deal. But I can assure you, I practice. I put in the reps. Otherwise, I can't even, like, I've put in so many reps. At least, like, I've spoken for the entirety of the stream, which makes it harder to drop. I mean, like, drop a little, yes, it does. But like, drop to baseline, you'd have to give me a moment, and I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I think that about covers it for things I want to talk about. I want to do Daria Wheel again soon. It might be Thursday. But like, I'll have to see. I'll have to see how I feel. I'm absolutely like making some serious progress on that video though, so that's gonna come out soon. I don't think the speedrun that I did a while ago is gonna come out like ever. I might just have to do that again. Yeah, maybe I might team some fucking moderators in the server at some point. This was fun. What is Daria Wheel? I'm a fake fan. There's a VOD with a wheel on it, on the thumbnail. It's very hard to miss because it doesn't look like any of the other thumbnails. Yeah, I'm glad the real heads showed up and, you know, enjoyed the little podcast episode. Like 7 minutes less than a yard up. What's crazy is the same amount of viewers I would normally get in the same AVD. Basically the same stats, except the amount of people that clicked is a lot less. Odd. Leave a like. I'll see you Thursday. All right. Good night now. Oh, shit. Wait, I missed the button. Fuck, I missed it again.